This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening. I want to welcome every one of us to the grand finale of the mentoring program. We started this program on the 31st of January. That's exactly 1 month ago. We started with introduction to networks, looked at LA network, we looked at the OSI CIP model. We looked at introduction to routing and switching. We looked at IP addressing and formatting. We looked at introduction to operating systems, Windows operating system basics, the Windows networking tools, control panel, command prompt, and we did some hands-on on Windows operating system. We also worked on the Linux operating system, the Linux terminal, the networking tools, and hands-on. Module 4, which we finished yesterday, was on computer hardware and software, basic operating system troubleshooting, installation and customization of the Windows OS and Active Directory. Yesterday, we were installing Windows 10 before my system complained of storage. We also installing Ubuntu, which also of storage, and Windows Server 2016. So that was when we were doing hands-on on the system administration end. But on the networking, we were able to finish it. So this was the network topology that we're working with. So we had a bank having three branches. It has an headquarter. So we had a bank that has three branches. One is the headquarter, which is resident in Lagos. We had another branch in Abuja, another in Port Harcourt. Now in the Lagos HQ headquarter, we had the Active Directory server, the web server, and the file server. And in Lagos, we had a LAN. Also in Abuja, we had a LAN and a Port Harcourt. And using Cisco Packet Tracer as our simulation tool, we built this network from scratch and was able to configure static IP addressing for each of the servers here, dynamic IP addressing using DHCP on the switch in Lagos HQ, dynamic IP addressing using DHCP on the router, Abuja router, dynamic IP addressing using DHCP on the router. We also were able to configure a wireless access point on each of the locations. So we configured the wireless access point in Lagos and the laptop was able to connect to it. We configured another wireless access point in Abuja and the laptop was also able to connect to it. In Port Harcourt, we also configured a wireless access point and the laptop connected. So now connecting both branches, we simulated using static routing where we statically configured the Lagos router to forward traffic for each of the network segments. We did that and we saw that working. We removed the static routing and also tried out dynamic routing. And the protocol we used for dynamic routing was EIGRP, Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol, EIGRP. We configured EIGRP on the Lagos HQ router, EIGRP on the Abuja branch router, and on the Port Harcourt router. And as dynamic routing works, they were able to learn the networks dynamically. So without much overhead, administrative overhead, we're able to get a network that converged, a network that understood how to get to every point. And that completed our network hands-on lab. So we started the VirtualBox where we were trying to run Windows operating system, Windows 10, Windows Server 2016, and Ubuntu 18 there. But today I also tried out bringing out the VirtualBox. It was having issue. I've tried reinstalling it. That's one of the delay. This because of this. So what I'll do is because we need to finish the class today, I will fetch out the hands-on, still the same hands-on we did in the last session of this course. So I will send it across so as to complete this lab. but as of the moment, my virtual box has crashed, and having reinstalled it is still having issues. So it will take some time to be able to resolve it. So, but what we'll do today is I will try and briefly run down on a summary scale so that you can ask your questions. So we looked at introduction to network, elements of the network, what a network is. We looked at what a LAN is. We looked at what a virtual LAN is, what a wide area network is, a VPN. Look at network architecture, peer-to-peer networks, about 56 slides really. So we looked at a lot of this. So that was for module 1. For module 2, we treated OSI model, TCP/IP model. I remember we looking at the 7 layers of OSI and the 4 layers of TCP/IP, comparing and contrasting them. We looked at routing, types of routing, static routing, dynamic routing. We looked at switching. We also looked at STP, spanning tree protocol. Also looked at IP addresses and subnetting. So I gave a video to help explain and explicitly break down what IP addressing is in terms of binary mathematics, and also in terms of how you can calculate or divide networks or subnet networks based on number of network or based on number of hosts. And in module 3, we looked at the introduction to operating system, having an understanding of what an operating system is, and also looking at it from the point of a user and the point of the system. The user sees the operating system as the user interface, whether it's a command line interface or a graphical user interface, a GUI or a CLI. And we also looked at some of the basics of Windows OS. And we said Windows has 2 major editions. So you have the desktop, you have the server edition, which is meant for server, and you also have the PC edition, where you have Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, even though Windows 7 has gone end of life. So those are for PCs. On the server edition, you have Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2016, and you also have Windows Server 2019. So that is on the Windows Server edition. Now on the Linux edition, we're able to look at the origin or the history of Linux, how it was founded by Linus Torvalds, and we were able to look at the various some example of Linux flavors or distribution. We mentioned Kali Linux, we mentioned Linux Mint, Fedora, CentOS, Mandriva, Red Hat, Enterprise Linux. So the list is massive. And then 4, we looked at computer hardware, software, basic operating system troubleshooting, installation and customization, and Active Directory. So I explained Active Directory, but we're supposed to do hands-on. But because of the issue I have with VirtualBox, so I'll be sharing the last recorded video we had for this session for installation of Windows 2016 and running of Active Directory. And it's where you'll be able to see it hands-on or see it in real life. Thank you. So I'm open for questions. Do we have any question?
Yes, I have something to say.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel, for your time. Although, what I want to say is not that I'm actually at fault because I've not really been available. I've been having issues in most of the sessions. Sometimes I begin the session and then go offline due to technical issues, and there are some sessions that I completely missed. So I want to ask for a favor if you can do a compilation of the materials from module 1 to module 4 together and then send it to us. And then one of the videos you sent was actually very heavy. So I want to ask if you can compress the video before sending, so it will be easy to download.
Okay. So Thank you very much, Tyro. Okay, Mr. Tyro. So there's a mega drive for this class that have all the resources. So all the tools that we're using, the operating system, images, the lecture materials, everything is there. So that link, if you're on the WhatsApp group, will also be shared. So there's a mega drive for it. Now for size, all the video recordings. So from class one, from the one to today, you will get the video recording there. So you can listen to it from end to end, as in not missing any points. But for the size, usually I won't be able to do much with size because it's more like a video recording. So I might not be able to do much. So maybe what you can do is when you have free internet or an area where you have fast internet access, you can just download the videos for them and you can listen to them anytime you are free. I don't know if I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Samuel.
So
Hello, sir.
yes,
Good
yes.
evening.
Good evening.
My name is Farooq Abdullahi, sir.
Yes. Okay.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Routing between Lagos and Abuja or between Lagos to Port Harcourt? Can you hear me?
Routing.
Between
I
Lagos
can.
to Abuja or between
Yeah.
Lagos to Port Harcourt?
Yeah.
Why do we need dynamic routing?
Okay. Okay. So now dynamic routing comes in handy when you have a big network. So rather than going to configure each of those routers, based on network changes. So it's just like an example, like saying, why do I need to dynamically assign IP addresses to
IP.
PC
Okay.
rather than doing static? So your place where you work or where you are, why not just go to everybody's system and be giving them IP?
IP.
That is static. That is very strenuous. That you'll be
Okay.
going to system.
Assign IP
Phone to
to
phone,
each.
you'll be configuring IP.
Okay.
Yes, but DACP, which is a protocol, so that anybody that connects to the Wi-Fi automatically they get IP. Connect to
You
the
get
network, they
IP.
get IP. Yes. So, but
Okay.
the dynamic routing gives that ability where if there's a network change, you don't need to go and configure each of the routers all over again for them to work.
Okay.
So if there's a change, the dynamic protocol will learn that change and will populate it around.
Okay.
So that's the major advantage why we use dynamic routing.
Okay. Okay. Again, sir,
Okay.
on dynamic IP routing, sorry, can the IP change on the router?
Yes. So dynamic routing, IPs can change, but what it's more concerned about is the network. So if you remember when we're configuring AIGRP on the
Yeah.
Lagos H router, what we did was to add only the networks. So I added this network to the AIGRP, I added this network to the AIGRP, I added this network to the AIGRP, I added this network. So all the neighboring networks of this router was what
Yeah.
I added, and it introduced each of those networks into its routing table. So that's the same thing I did for Abuja router also. I did for Port Harcourt router. So when they are sending routing updates, it is the network that are connected that they send it to. So from Lagos router, I'm able to know Abuja is connected to this network. From Lagos router,
Okay.
I can know that Port Harcourt is connected to this network. From Port
Yeah.
Harcourt network router, I can know that Abuja network is
Yeah.
connected to Lagos. With that understanding, I know who to forward my traffic to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you
I
very
hope you
much.
understand.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you very much.
So any other question? Okay, so in the absence of none, I want to appreciate every one of us that participated in the class. As we promised that there will be certificate of attendance now. The way we'll be giving out certificate of attendance will be based on assignments. So in this week we are entering, we'll be sending out assignments on networking. So possibly creating a network architecture. So you get that assignment. As many who will complete and submit the assignment, they will be given a certificate of attendance. Because that assignment
Okay.
shows that you understood and you can put to that which you have learned.
Okay.
You get send that out, but at any point in time you can always boss me, you can always put on the WhatsApp if there are any challenges you have in doing the assignment. What we are
Okay.
is to ensure that you have hands-on experience. You get to do these things. You get to practice them and not just come for classes and lectures, but you'll be able to work with it.
Okay.
That's how the certificate of attendance will be distributed.
All
So I want
right.
to appreciate every one of us that has participated, who has been from each of the classes, and we hope that what you've learned you find meaningful and practical application to it. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciated you.
Okay. So